evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 6, Episode 6, DJI Mini 2 SE coming this week. How is everyone doing? Let's go ahead and we're going to, I'm gonna say this up front. You're going to have to excuse me. I am feeling much better. We're going to get to that here in a minute, but you're going to hear some clearing of the throat kind of stuff tonight. So I'll try to keep it as much to a minimum as I can. So let's see who we have in the house tonight. Michael Wright is in the house, 107 Drones. Tony's in the house. Rex is here tonight, 107 Drones. Akarasho. Bill Thomas is in the house. Welcome, guys. Mark White's here. Let's see who else we have. Alicia B is here. Welcome. Quadcopters and Tech. Let's see who else we got here. Dr. Ted, welcome. Let's see, Flying Flynn, welcome, my friend. Good to see you. Johnny Droneflyer, welcome, Johnny. Oh, my good friend SSBQ73Q, welcome. Good to see you, my friend. Let's see who else we got here. Casey Crime Fighter, welcome. Good to see you. Let's see, and Captain Ray is here. All right, got a full house tonight already. Thank you guys for bearing with me. It's been one thing I don't ever care to repeat in my life. Okay, this dealio with COVID is just wicked. All right, just ran 103, almost 103.5 fever for almost a day. Had uncontrollable hiccups, which it's not really a well-known symptom of COVID, but it's known to happen. And that hit me. Lots of insomnia. Wonderful. Okay. With all of this, imagine the worst flu you've had, multiply times 10, and you probably can get an inkling and a taste. Now, a couple of things that were my trusty friend, pulse oximeter, and my digital thermometer. You can see I have them right here because I was taking it all the time. And one of the things I was real fastidious about was especially the pulse oximeter, because I know what's good, and it was 90, almost 98 the whole time. So that was real good. The coughing has substantially subsided, and whatever coughing I get, it is fairly productive. I still get congested pretty easy, and I still get tired pretty easy. So all that being said, thank you guys for bearing with me for the past couple of weeks. It's not been easy. I want to get out. I got some content I really want to get out there for you guys. I'm going to work on that. Hopefully this weekend we have a good weekend where last weekend was actually pretty windy. I wasn't 100% ready to go out yet, but it was a little too windy, even for the Mavic 3 down where we are. So, when February and March hit down here, it gets pretty windy because you're getting kind of a change of weather here. So anyway, all right, we're going to talk about our first article here. This is one of those articles, okay? Super Bowl's a no-fly zone. And this was out on Drone DJ. And, it's more of a community service announcement because I know you guys will be fine, but let's go ahead and go over this anyway because, I just think it's you can't say it enough here. Okay. The FAA is once again asking you not to fly drones at the Super Bowl. Okay. NFL has put out a full flight advisory for Super Bowl LVII. So that's what, 57, I think, which details out where you cannot fly near State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. The Chiefs and Eagles are scheduled to kick off on Sunday at 6:30, but restrictions with drones will start Thursday. Okay. Special no-fly zone for all UAS up to 1,000 feet AGL be put into place starting on February 9th and go through all week. The zone goes into effect at 6 a.m. Mountain Standard Time and closes at midnight daily. The zone will cover much of the downtown area, including Chase Field, University of Arizona, the Japanese Friendship Garden of Phoenix. Okay, and here's the area, which is really all pretty much encompassing here. For State Farm Stadium, 3 separate TFRs will go into place on game day. All 3 prohibit UAS flights. First will be a 1 NM nautical mile ring from the surface up to 3,000 feet AGL. The second is an inner ring for game time, 10 nautical miles from the surface up to, but not including flight level 180, flight level 18,000 feet. The third is an outer ring of 30 nautical miles with fewer restrictions on traditional aircraft. The center for all 3 rings is 33 degrees, 31 minutes, 48 seconds north, 112 degrees, 15 minutes, 53 seconds west, which is near the intersection of West Maryland Avenue and North 95th Avenue. The inner circle and outer rings will open at 3:30 and close at 8:20 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So you plan on flying any drones in the Phoenix area this weekend, make sure you are aware of these restrictions to not find yourself in trouble with the FAA and pretty much every other local federal law enforcement agency. And here's the thing. Why do we talk about this each year? Each year the NFL seems to make a big deal about posting information about not flying drones at the Super Bowl. However, we've reported several instances of violations during the regular season that continue to require the level of passive aggressiveness by the FAA. You remember down at the Bengals game, the guy posted it on YouTube. What a brainchild that was. I mean, he was just asking for a lot of trouble. We saw a drone fly inside the stadium of the Cincinnati Bengals, breaking countless laws on proper drone flying, and even shared the video on YouTube for all of us to critique. I think the consensus was if you're going to risk jail time for some drone footage, at least be halfway decent. Okay. Just, in my bottom line is this. Okay. I put this out here as a public service announcement. I know Ron and Marcus had it on Drone Nation last night. It's just important. Okay. To emphasize, it's just not a good, if you live in Phoenix, don't fly your drone this weekend. That way you just avoid any kind of problems or hassles. Okay. Don't fly your drone this weekend. Well, I gotta fly. Well, you know what? You don't have to fly. And there's ample reason why. This TFR stretches out. It's like crazy. You can bet that they're going to be out there watching this like a hawk. So, my best advice, enjoy the game. It's probably going to be a good game. They're 2 teams that are well matched up. My advice is sit back, grab your favorite beverage, get some nachos, have some chili on hand, have some subs on hand, and watch the game. But you never had a party like the party I had for the Super Bowl for the Steelers in 2009. That was a party. I made some homemade chili, and I also got one of those, I don't know, it was like 10-foot long Subway subs. Yeah, it was just we had a party. And it was funny because my son-in-law, which wasn't my son-in-law at the time, and Victoria were there, and they were cheering it on. And I found a picture and I posted that of them this week. I posted it up there, which I thought was real funny. They weren't even dating at the time, but it was kind of cool. We had a lot of fun. All right. Sorry about all that. Okay. Remote ID from DroneTag. It's another article that came up there. It's like we're finally getting over what I want to say, Chinese New Year, and well, Johnny, I think the thing is, I think they really want to clamp down on this, and notice that the TFR is it's more geared toward UAV than private aircraft. I think they just completely want to avoid any notion of anybody taking their drone up and doing something that they shouldn't do. So, welcome, Greg. Glad to see you here tonight. Okay. That's just that's my take on it. Okay. Remote ID from DroneTag. All right. Let's get to this article here. Wow. Okay. All right. I'm getting with the program here, guys. I promise. Okay. All right. DroneTag releases ultra small internal remote ID module for global drone producers. Okay. And you can see how big. There's a euro coin, and that's how big this module is. Czech UAV tech company DroneTag is starting 2023 with a rollout of its new direct remote ID product, designed as an ultra small internal component for incorporation by drone manufacturers around the world. DroneTag says its new DRI unit is the world's smallest and lightest device, offering affordable direct broadcast remote capability. Founded by Czech technological students doubling as avid drone pilots, DroneTag initially produced the Mini remote ID unit. It's externally mounted on craft by users wanting to immediately make their craft visible to other pilots or airspace monitors. DroneTag's new DRI module shrinks that tech down about the size of a U.S. quarter or euro coin for internal fitting by drone producers seeking compliance with FAA standard remote ID and EASA, European Union Aviation Safety Agency, C-Class regulations. The single-sided board is mounted inside drones using double-sided tape or M2 screws. DroneTag notes its existing app also manages settings and firmware updates for the new DRI product, eliminating any need to take a drone apart to go to work with the module. Okay. It looks like the pre-order price of $49 or 49 euros may be modified for bulk purchases. In addition, respecting U.S. and EU remote ID regulations, DroneTag says its DRI product is adapted for deployment in all nations using F3411 or EN 4709002 standards, including the UK, India, Japan, Taiwan, and Singapore. All right, that is just an absolute total mouthful. All right. With all that being said, sorry about that. Like I said, with all that being said, that's a lot to digest right there. But this module is going to be available, and I think this is probably going to be for other. I don't know if this is something you'll be able to do yourself. Sounds like you might be able to. We're going to have to see more on that. I'll be anxious to see somebody, if they come up with a video on this. That will be really interesting. But stay tuned for that. That's coming. Sorry about that. That's part of. All right. Back at it here. So, also wanted to comment too. If you didn't catch the show last night on Drone Nation with Ron and Marcus and their guest Greg, and I forget the other gentleman's name, talking about not only remote ID but community-based organizations and flying fields. There's a Pfizer or whatever, I forget what it's called. Go back and watch it. It was an excellent broadcast. They did a great job. I watched last night. I didn't comment a lot because I was trying to listen. But that was a great broadcast, and you'll learn a lot. And this is something, I'm trying to mute when I have to here, guys, so forgive me for that. But this is something we're all going to have to get up to speed on. Those guys really know their stuff. I've watched Greg several times. He's very good with his stuff. Not familiar with the other gentleman, but Greg does a great job. So I would highly recommend, if you didn't watch last night, or even if you did, watch it again, because you'll pick up a lot. This is something that we are going to have to all get up to speed on. And I think Greg was mentioning last night too that, things about the FAA and how they really haven't been up to speed with this. Oh, welcome, Lloyd. Glad to see you here tonight. How they haven't been up to speed, and it's been confusing, and it has. It's been thoroughly confusing. It hasn't been clear. And last night's episode made things a little more clear for me. I did do some research, and I did have that on Rotor Talk a few weeks ago. We did talk about community-based organizations, and what your options are with that and everything. So stay tuned. There's going to be more info on that. Again, I'm sorry. I do apologize for that. Vic has been on. Public service announcement. Okay. I know Captain Ray's in the house. April 1st is going to be here before you know it. It's already what? February 7th. It's February 7th today. So April 1st is going to be here before you know it. You know, the South Florida drone meetup. If you haven't made hotel reservations, go ahead and do so. It's going to be a great time. Ray, if you could post how many people you know of are coming in the chat, that would be great. In any information, there is a Facebook group called South Florida Drone Meetup. You definitely want to check that out. There's information regarding accommodations. It's just a wonderful time. And, you know, that's I can tell you, you want to go to this. It's just great. A lot of great people there, a lot of fun, and hopefully no drones lost like last year. Okay. That was, and we got there right after that happened. So anyway, it's a great time. Highly encourage you guys to go. Be lots of stuff, lots of fun. There's going to be giveaways. But the best part is, it isn't even flying drones. It's getting to meet everybody and see everybody there. And, you know, I got to meet Marcus for the first time, got to meet Art there, got to meet Johnny, got to meet Ray. It was just an absolute, and Michael Wright, Mark Fisher. Gosh, Mark, it's worth coming to South Florida Drone Meetup just to see Mark Fisher. Okay, the guy is 24/7 energy. Okay, he's fantastic, and he's a great guy too. Anyway, all right. I've talked enough about this. All right. All right. You've probably seen and probably heard some things about the consumer drone market, and that the consumer drone market is dying. Now, there was a great article that our good friend Billy Kyle wrote out on Drone XL. I'm gonna bring that article up here. Let's see here. Okay, here's the article. It's the consumer drone market dying in 2023. Okay, great article by Billy. Okay, now again, you know, everything I post here is on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group, Facebook page. So go ahead, you know, and read these through at your leisure. Okay, now, you know, I'll kind of summarize the article from what Billy was saying. All right, you know, he went out to CES this year. There was only one drone manufacturer. It was Autel, and you know, they had their new enterprise drone that they're going to be selling, and they went over that, which is great. And let's go ahead. I'm going to see if I can move it down here. The Emo Max 4T, okay, which is really an enterprise level type of drone. All right. And there's a picture of it right there. And here's the gist of the article. Think about it. Everything I just mentioned is all enterprise. No consumers buying Dragonfish with a docking station. No consumers buying a docking station for Evo or Evo 2. No one's going to be purchasing an Evo Max 4T that is built for commercial use only. There's a consumer drone market dying. You know, Billy talked about the article that, hey, Kestelou wrote about DJI was banned from CES 2023 for human rights violation, which, yeah, Billy's right. It's a wild claim to make. How can you even begin to back something like that up? You know, and a lot of it's fueled by what's going on between China and the United States. And of course, DJI is on the United States entity list, which, you know, there's just a lot of stuff right there. Okay. You know, and Billy gives some reasons. You about this here. But I think he says it's like comparing all the drones from one manufacturer, and they're just competing with themselves, which leads me to believe that the consumer drone industry is at a stagnation point. I guess maybe it's not dying, but we need something new. And I think that Billy kind of hit the nail on the head right there. Okay. And what else I'll talk about, and I kind of shared this real briefly with Ron, talking about smartphones, because he made a post about, he did a video on his new iPhone 14, and the camera on it, which is great, and it's like Samsung does this, Apple does this, Samsung does this, Apple does this, and they're pretty much going to be balanced out in terms of their features and capabilities and great pictures. I mean, you look on the new S23 Ultra, that's incredible. I thought my S22 Ultra was great. That even kicks it up a notch. That's coming out later this month. Ron's pictures from his iPhone 14 were fantastic. There's really no, and I think Billy really touched on it here. It's just not with drones, okay? It's with smartphones as well, too, because you can get pretty much everything you want in an iPhone. You can get pretty much everything you want in a Samsung Galaxy, or, if you decide to get a Google Pixel, which has a great camera as well, there's no breakthroughs in terms of technology. And Billy's right as far as a stagnation point is concerned. It's just, not only with drones, but also with, smartphones as far as that technology is concerned. So hopefully, we'll get this moving forward and get it into a point where, there can be some great new technology out there that's going to kind of sweep us off our feet. Now, I'm trying to mute here, guys. All right. One of the things that I think will really help this year is that we're going to see release sooner rather than later. And, one of the things is we received some news that the DJI Mini 2 SE will be maybe possibly coming out this week. Now, we got a couple articles from Drone DJ. We're going to go over that. And then hopefully Ron will join me here in a little bit and we can kind of discuss this further. Now, I'm going to put out the first article, which kind of was a teaser. And this article came out on the 6th. And talk about incredible timing. Ron, how are you, sir?
Bill, how are you feeling?
I'm doing quite well, incredibly well compared to last week. I can tell you that.
Good. You sound good.
Still a little congested, but I can deal with it.
Well, you'll be able to clear the sciences out at the Florida drone meetup on April 1st. We'll have some good breeze out there for you that day.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Just started to talk about the Mini 2 SE. Okay. Now, before I even get into the article that show you the teaser and everything, my initial reaction, and I, Ron had posted out on one of the groups, and I commented underneath it. It says, the thing that hit me right away, it's not the Mini 3 SE, but the Mini 2 SE. Okay. And Ron brought up he nailed it. Ron always nails it. Okay. They're wanting to use up their parts supply from the Mini 2. All right. So they're going to go ahead and give us a Mini 2 SE. I mean, Ron just boom. Okay. Ron has these just comes right in there and boom. He nailed it. And that's exactly right.
People said that about the first SE or whatever. So I'm kind of stealing a line from a couple years ago when the original SE came out.
Well, it's still good, Ron. That's still a great point to make. And I think a lot of people need to realize that, because I wasn't the only one. I saw out on Twitter, there were several people that said the same thing. If they were going to come out with an SE, they thought it would be the Mini 3. Well, let's go ahead and I'm going to put the first article up there, and it's the teaser that we saw from what's his name?
Deals with Drones, or what's the other guy's name? Not a Cedar Lab, but Deals with Drones.
Yeah, Deals Drone. Okay. and you can see right here, you can barely see INI2SE on here. And here's the actual ad itself. Now, part of it's in Chinese,
right.
And it has the date, 2023 2/9/11:30, whatever that means. That's probably, time over there compared to time over here, and how that translates. I have absolutely positively no idea. Said leakers were even past her work expected, with photos of the Mini SE on a sale in a store, replete with major specs displayed, as well as high-resolution photos of the drone. The major information: it's under 249 grams, 31-minute flight time, 2.7K video, 10-kilometer video transmission capacities. It appears intended to be a step down from the Mini 2, and as a leaker and drone watcher Jasper Ellis tweeted, looks like to become DJI's new entrance-level drone, okay? And let's see if we can bring these pictures up here individually. There's a Fly More combo right there.
Mm-hmm.
Mini 2 SE.
Just confirms the thing on the side of the box here. And Bill, just by looking at that drone, you would never know it was the SE version Mini 2 without looking at the arm, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's a real shadowy picture right there.
And I think the next picture is clear. There's someplace I saw someplace they have a much clearer version of that same picture.
Yeah, here is okay. There's a very clear picture of that right here.
Because you really don't need the picture, Bill, because outside of seeing the E there, the SE, it's no difference. And here's the specs here.
Now, here's all the specs right here. For those of you that really want to get into this, and the thing that I was most curious about was is going to be the video. It says 10-kilometer range, which is good.
Is that OcuSync 2 range?
Yeah, and that's exactly because I couldn't find it where it says OcuSync 2 on here. It just said 10 kilometers listed.
It doesn't say OcuSync on there, but somebody else said that morning. Bill, is this strange that Monday morning, all of a sudden, like the 4 or 5 biggest DJI leakers on Twitter all put the same information out at the same time?
Yeah,
that's a little odd.
Yeah, that's like, it was like all of a sudden, boom, and it's there, and you realize, there's really something to it. Hey, Marcus.
Howdy. Hey,
speaking of big DJI leakers, here we go. Marcus is with us.
Yeah, I came over to Ron's house.
Or we get the same decorator, one or the other.
Yeah. Hey, looking through those specs, I am not so sure, boys. I am not sure about this page. Some of the things.
I agree with Marcus. I cast a little doubt on.
Yeah, there's a little some contradictory things. I think somebody picked up a DJI spec page and put Mini 2 SE on there, and especially when you look at the dimensions, they're in a bigger font than the other stuff, and maximum speed. I think even the current Mini SE, I believe, is 15 meters per second. So they're just things that aren't adding up for me.
Well, you're right here, because if you look like right where I'm pointing,
exactly,
right here, half of that's cut off here, half of that's cut off right here. That's a great point, Marcus. It's like, I think somebody probably got a little anxious and tried to get some information out there, but I don't think that's very accurate. The one
didn't I see on another page too? They're talking about the FPV, and this says 720p, and I thought I read someplace else that it was going to be 1080, but
you mean it's 720 from the that's from the back to your phone or whatever.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
The FPV.
Hey, I don't want to cut you off, anybody, but Mike Wright says in chat that that Chinese writing on the promo means mini easy to shoot.
Mini easy to shoot. Okay.
So,
well,
That's what the guy in the F-22 said about the balloon.
About the balloon. Balloon easy to shoot.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to do it.
Yeah.
You know,
I would allow Marcus to mention the balloon last night.
Well, that's too good. Couple of things here. All right. Is, it's supposedly coming out on the 9th, but it hasn't hit the FCC database yet.
I was going to ask you about that. Does that draw a red flag for you, Bill?
Well, no, and I'll tell you why. Because DJI released the Spark before it hit the FCC database, and it came out the morning of the release.
Okay.
Yeah, but also if it's still just a bit Mini 2, isn't there current license? I mean, I don't know. I don't know those rules.
Well, I would think because it's it may have a different transmission system. Ron and I were just talking about that before you joined us, like an OcuSync 2 compared to the Mini 2, the way it is right now. So because it listed a 10-kilometer range with it, which lends me to believe that it's different from the original Mini 2. I'm just just going by what we see on the box here.
Matty said in the chat that he was told that it has OcuSync 2 also.
Okay.
Can I tell you what I'm a little bit disappointed about is that I was hoping that it would have. I've been rooting for DJI to come out with a new SE version, but I was hoping it would be in the Mini 3 form factor.
So right, what I let in with that with Ron, and I commented. Ron had posted this information out there yesterday. That was my first comment. I was surprised. It's not a Mini 3 SE. It's a Mini 2 SE. And Ron right away he picked up on it, and this was from when the Mini SE came out, that they still had a lot of parts left over from the Mini. Okay, so they're just going to go ahead. And I think this kind of makes sense.
Okay, I'm with you, Bill. I'm with you with your logic. I totally get it. But why not just keep making the Mini 2 for a while then and make it the price leader?
Yeah. Well, why go to all that trouble to dumb down a drone that's still a great drone, but it is borderline 2.5-year-old technology now? Why would you have to dumb down something that's 2.5 years old?
And you already have an SE with the same form factor out there. So talk about using up parts. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess at this rate, Bill, we won't see a Mini 3 SE until the Mini 4 arrives.
Probably. I mean, the using up of the parts kind of thing. It makes sense, and I get that, and I understand that, and waste not, want not, but you guys make a good point about the dumbing down of this drone, and also too, what's going to be the number one factor in all this is going to be the price point. All right,
yeah,
because if they price this wrong, it will not sell. Okay, they will not fly off the shelves.
But I'm going to stop you just for a second. Do you think this drone is what they said about the first SE? Do you think this drone is mostly intended for other markets in the world and not the U.S.?
Yes, because of the 249 grams. Okay, and also in step with that, this is probably geared towards a first-time drone buyer. Okay.
Or somebody that's coming from a sub $200 drone.
Somebody that's coming from a Holy Stone or some such.
They'll be amazed.
Yes, they will be.
And the problem is Holy Stones aren't sub 250. The Holy Stones cost as much as these DJI Minis.
Yeah, so I see this as a first-time drone, and I see this as a drone that will do well overseas.
But that's always what the Mini SE has been. And really, we got it in the U.S. kind of by accident, and I'm glad we did. However, it's always been really kind of a drone for world markets, not necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Marcus, if basically we're going to assume most of these things we heard about the Mini 2 SE are true, the specs, I'm going to say. Now, to me, this drone is the SE. It is when it arrives. If it arrives Thursday, it's not as to the market, it's not as good as a drone as the original Mini SE was at the time it arrived to the market.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So okay, you get the RCN1 controller and you get OcuSync 2. I don't know who flies a little drone like that out that far. The biggest thing that I think they're missing is if it truly is just a 2.7K drone. What's the matter with the original SD?
Let me stop you right there. Do you think this is going to have the same camera as the Mini 2? They're just going to dumb down the video. They're going to software dumb down to 2.7K. But Bill, what do you think about that? Will this have the same camera as the Mini 2, and they're just software limiting us on the video?
Yeah, they're just going to dumb it down, and it's like when you're spending this kind of money, all right. And this is one thing that really kind of I always scratch my head when I think about this. You're spending at least $300 or more here, okay? And videos today. How many videos do you see out there? YouTube wise. And I'm talking about, scenic ones, okay? Mm-hmm. Like, Ron at the beach or Marcus at the canyon, okay? Scenic ones, okay? How many videos do you see in 2.7, okay, versus 4K?
Not unless I hit it by accident.
Yeah, unless you do that by accident, you're almost always going to shoot in 4K.
Yeah, I mean now just a year or two ago, sometimes people shot 2.7K, so they get 60 frames per second. But now, even with the Mini 3, offers these 60 frames per second. The Pro. Does the standard Mini 3 offer the 60 frames per second, Marcus?
No, it's just 30.
Okay, so okay, but that's the only reason to shoot a 2.7K with some drones is that you can gain that 60 frames per second.
And for the most part, most people have 4K capabilities on monitors and TVs. It's not like a 6K or an 8K or anything like that. So you can see the results out there, and you can see the difference in YouTube when you download it in 4K.
Exactly, Bill. Everybody's cell phone, GoPro, anybody, all this, they're all 4K.
Yeah.
I want to answer the chat here for a second. So they're joking around about whether I'll buy it or not. Well, of course I'll buy it when it comes out, because one of the things about my channel is I try and feature those lower price products that people can afford and want to buy. So I'm going to buy it so I can show the features and show why people would want to buy that drone. Quite frankly, I wouldn't put it in so many words, but instead of some of those Amazon drones that you see me fly, that little Mini SE is going to be 10 times better than them. I want to demonstrate that on my channel so that they can see that. So, all kidding aside, of course I'll buy one.
Right, but if you didn't have a YouTube channel and you just flew drones as a hobby and you already had the Mini 3 Pro,
I would not. Of course, absolutely right, Ron.
Yeah.
What? I mean, you're probably getting here, Bill, but I'll push this to the point. What's our guess on the starting price point of this? Well, it won't be a starting. It's only gonna have one price point. What do you think the ballpark price point of this?
Well, for the drone, one battery, and the controller, it should be about $299. And if it's not $299, that thing's not going to sell. I can tell you that right now. It's going to sit on shelves. If you don't price that at $299 for just one battery, the controller, and the drone, you shot yourselves in the foot.
Bill, I think it's going to be, I'm on board with what you're saying, but I'm going to push that number up like Matt or like Quadcopters and Tech is saying, $349. I think $349.
Probably right.
I still think you could capture that same market.
I mean, I see a lot of $399s in chat. Bill, with what's happened since the original Mini SE came out, the pandemic, the global inflation, all war in Ukraine and whatever, do you think it's possible to release something this many years later and not have a slight price increase?
Yeah,
I agree. I agree with a slight price increase, but you gotta price this right, because if you're a price leader and you go up too much, okay, you're going to get people turned off by that. Because
so Mike Wright is saying $399. Well, I'm going to counter that, Mike, and say, well, okay, that guy, why would you pay $399 for that? Well, you can go to Costco, you can buy the Mini 2, you can shoot in 4K. have all that same stuff with 2 batteries for like, I believe it's either $379 or $389.
Marcus makes a great point, and to your point also, Bill, nobody's going to pay even $299, $329 for that new SE as long as they can still go to the big box stores and buy a Mini 2 for just a little bit more, especially a Flymore kit. So DJI is going to have to clear the current inventory of Mini 2s out of the big stores in the US and even online before that drone will find its audience. I mean, unless it's $299 or less, which
that's a good point. And I would say this for everybody out there, take a look and see over the next couple of days, if you can go out to like, say Best Buy or Amazon or even DJI themselves and what availability of the Mini 2 is like to see, because they may just decide to just, pull the plug on it. And if they pull the plug on it, the only chance you have of having like a Mini 2 is going to be to get the Mini 2 SE. So they will kind of force this on people instead of being able to buy the Mini 2 SE, regular Mini 2, they'll force the SE on them. And like Ron said, and you said as well, Marcus, it doesn't make any sense, because if you're going to go ahead and put this kind of a drone out there, why not just get the Mini 2 as is? Because you'll be paying just a little bit more, but getting all kinds of features.
You know how you could get people to pay $399 for it? Put it in that Mini 3 form factor.
Too late now. That drone's at least 9 months.
I agree, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Ron, but I'm just saying that people would look at that and go, "Oh, it's new. Look at that."
Yeah. Hey, here's Bill. You talk about what I said something good. The best line I read Monday morning when I was looking at all these leaks, whatever. Somebody wrote about the Mini 2 SE, the drone nobody wanted.
Yeah,
that's not my line.
The standard Mini 3,
drone nobody wants.
Well, I'll go back to what I said again. And I hate to keep repeating myself, but I'm like, where's the Mini 3 SE? I'm like, I'm waiting. All right, okay. That was just natural. It was just logical. And I think you guys, back in December and November, we were talking about drones for coming up this year. And that's one of the things I think all three of us mentioned was, we'll probably see a Mini 3 SE sometime, probably maybe first quarter in the spring. Nobody said anything about a Mini 2 SE. Nobody.
I mean, Geeks Vana says in the chat a while ago, this drone is not for us guys. It's for kind of the country to have a great market and all that or whatever. It's meant to say. Here's it, Bill. If I ask you guys what your top 3 things in a drone are, you may say a lot of things like 4K, octane, but in certain countries of the world, the top 3 reasons for buying a drone are price, and price.
Yeah. And Sean makes a great point here.
Hopefully this will fit the bill for that.
Yeah. Sean makes a great point. Yes, this SE is not for us. It's for gray markets where a slightly cheaper model makes a difference. Non-hobby users will eat it up as a cheaper option. And he's 100% right on that. That's what this is intended for. For the three of us. Now, Marcus will get it because he'll use it to compare against his Holy Stones and his other.
I hope he can get it. I hope it is for sale in the U.S. on day one, but I'm not positive about that.
Barkley is making a point. He's correcting me that the Costco deal is $440. So it is a little bit more. But even
Mike Ray was saying that same thing a little while ago.
Yeah. So say it's $440. That makes sense. Still, that's only $40 more than the $399 that they're saying the single battery of the Mini 2 SE. But anyway.
Yeah. And
what is that worth?
And Marcus, but I see your point. This is Costco, so it's $440 today, but it could be President's sale next weekend. It's back to the price you said. These sale prices are going to come and go. You just have to grab them when they're low.
Yeah, and I've seen it under $400 on refurbs on like Adorama and some of those B&H. I know they often have refurbs that are pretty darn cheap and hard to turn down. I don't know. It'll have DJI on it, so it'll be successful. we know that no matter
in
what.
some part of the world. I saw Uncle Bill said there that there's already 2 versions of the Mini 3, and there is Bill, but the kind of the big point is there's not a cheap version of the Mini 3 that people will buy in these other countries or whatever, where like these sponsors where price is number one or whatever. Even what $550 for the Mini 3 starter kit, that still outprices it for many users.
And Sean brings up a good point here. Marketing value of us all chatting about DJI has a value too. It gets the conversation rolling.
Sean, we're going to get our check here from DJI shortly for this show.
You get a check, Ron. They lost my address evidently.
Yeah, apparently.
I get it in DJI. What is those gold tickets? I get paid in DJI.
DJI golden tickets. Yeah, there you go.
I got a whole bunch of golden tickets. Eventually, I'll be able to buy a set of props with them.
You'll be able to get 10% off an accessory, but it won't be applicable to any accessory.
Yeah, I'll get that accessory coupon. Yeah, except for like props, even the most props or a strap or something you don't want.
Yeah, and that'll probably be about it. But
hey, why we have Uncle Bill, and I mentioned him, but I want to say condolences, Uncle Bill. I was talking to some guys who were at one of the Florida drone meetups. I think it was the other weekend before, and Uncle Bill's FPV drone took a little dive in the ocean over there.
Yeah, we were all sorry to hear that, Bill. I want to say that publicly too. I'm so sorry to hear that.
At Boynton Beach, I think it was the Boynton Beach meetup.
Yeah.
And I don't know the particulars of it, but Alex told me he was doing something. He looked around, and all of a sudden, it was a big panic that Bill's drone had gone. Done that. But I heard that you can get the FPV drone, the original one. If you're just buying a drone, I've seen deals where you can get them for $300-$400 on eBay, just the drone. So
yeah. Captain Ray actually put the video up on his show.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Michael Wright, is telling everybody, Sam sells drones too. Because we frequent Sam's Club at least once a week, and I've seen them out there. And DJI, I've seen some Holy Stones and some Potenzics and some other ones there, but they have had DJI's drones out there as well too. But it's real interesting. It's just, and I think this is a really good. Sean brought up a really good point. It gets the conversation rolling back to DJI again. And, they've been off for at least a couple of weeks because of Chinese New Year and all this kind of good stuff. And they didn't have a presence out at CES this year because they were banned because of human rights violations. Billy Kyle put out a really good article about, and I talked a little bit about it earlier, about is the consumer drone market dead? But he really said no. He says it's more stagnant than dead, which I tendency to agree with him. And Ron and I kind of a little chat as well too. I commented on his iPhone 14 video, which has a great camera. Okay, it's like, you see iPhone will come up with one, and then Samsung comes up with one. iPhone, Samsung, and they kind of balance each other out.
In the drone world, we only have one iPhone or one Samsung. We don't have two.
This part keeps getting bigger.
That's true. That's true. And Billy's right. What kind of innovation are we going to see? We get incredible range on these drones. The battery life has been fantastic. The software functions, like APAS 2.0 on there is great. The obstacle avoidance capabilities on these drones are fantastic. The extra features like master shots and waypoints, it's just,
and for the first time ever, all those features came to a mini drone, the Mini 3 Pro. Most of them, anyways.
Yeah, and being able to handle the wind, the Mini 3 Pro out in the wind, it's I'll say this about the Mini 3 Pro. Okay, it's as good as my original Mavic Pro out in the wind. Okay, and I thought
totally agree with that, Bill. That you are spot on with that statement.
The original Mavic Pro did pretty well in the
Mavic,
wind.
right?
That Mini 3, yeah. I know because Marcus flies. I know where Marcus flies. It's very windy up there, And
you remember what a turd that original Mavic Pro was in the wind? I'm telling you, you had to be careful.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, yeah.
It wasn't as good as the fan that were out at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Ron. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna kind of wrap things up here on this. Stay tuned. We'll see what happens this Thursday. Again, of course, even though it's not on the FCC, it'll probably hit the FCC tomorrow. If not, it'll be out Thursday morning. Although, there's the possibility this release isn't for the U.S. Okay,
at least not initially or whatever.
Not initially. Like
what was it that like the first SC it wasn't, was it available in day one to buy here or
no? I'm trying to remember too, Ron.
Yeah.
I remember. I think I ended up buying it off of Amazon. I think.
I got mine off Amazon too.
Yeah. And the buying advice for Thursday, we don't even know the price yet, but the buying advice is what if you're Marcus and you need to review it, go ahead and grab it. But if you already have a Mini 2, a Mini 3, a Mini 3 Pro, or whatever, a Altel Nano Plus, and you're not really running a pay for a drone channel, it's really not a whole lot of need for it. I'm not telling anybody what to do or buy, but that'd be my advice.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It really does.
Because again, it's for us. Almost everybody in this panel here is a big drone geek, and we all have a whole bunch of drones already. So we're not looking for a down version. It's like Marcus. If he had his Corvette and he went out and bought Chevy's least powerful car to go with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if he went out and bought a 1980 Chevy Chevette to go with it or whatever. I mean,
I'll give you a better example, Ron. I've got a Corvette. I don't need to go out and buy a Camaro then.
Oh, I didn't say that, folks. All the bad email goes the.
No, I love Camaros. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that we're talking about levels of performance.
Yeah.
If you already have a Mini 3 Pro, well, anyway, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah.
Any closing thoughts, guys?
Well, my closing thought is I'll be looking forward to seeing what happens on Thursday, to see all the final specs of this drone, since I don't believe that spreadsheet we saw is maybe 100% accurate. So I want to see all the final specs. I want to know the price, most importantly, and I want to know its availability in the U.S., especially off of third-party sellers like Amazon and Best Buy. And before we wrap the show up entirely, Bill, on the way out, will you give your Super Bowl prediction before we sign off?
Oh, I definitely will.
Okay. Marcus?
So, here's what I'm saying. At least here, I'm seeing a little light at the end of the tunnel. The weather is starting to break, so should be able to get out and fly some more. And I'm really looking forward to that. I got all these drones behind me, and I want to get out.
Maybe the day the Mini SE arrives, Mini 2 SE, that'll be the day the spring pops up.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah. It's time to get out there and do some flying. And I've been just editing old videos. No, enough of that. I want to make some new ones.
You should save the Mini 2 SE and open up at the Florida Drone Meetup and fly right over the same spot that the Altel drone flew over.
To your point, Ron. Listen, Ron. I know you're joking around, but when I went to Spin Up in Austin, Texas, the only drone I brought with me was the little DJI Mini SE.
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons. It was really easy to carry because it was so small and light. The small form factor of that little controller, part of that, plus the fact that I knew we weren't going to be flying any great distances. So, we were in places where we were just going to be flying pretty close in. So I wasn't worried about range so much. It was the perfect drone for that. And so that you don't be surprised if I showed up at the Florida Drone Meetup with a Mini SE.
Good little travel drone, especially if you got to fly.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'll give you my prediction. Eagles win and the last second field goal, 27-24.
Oh, it's a lot of support for KC in the chat, Bill.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, I actually, first time KC went to the Super Bowl, I rooted for them. Then when they played the Bucks, I was rooting for the Bucks. Okay. All right. And now, well, you know what somebody posted today, because there's evidently a lot of my fans are anti-Cowboy fans. Somebody said, Brady's last game, he lost to the Cowboys. It's just end of sentence right there. As far
And
as
his only in the 20 years he played, it's the only time he ever lost to the Cowboys, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any ex-Steelers involved in either the Chiefs or the Eagles?
Yeah, for the Chiefs, Juju Smith-Schuster, wide receiver.
But he may not play, I heard.
Yeah, I heard that as well too. I'm kind of surprised how they've used him because I thought he was a great wide receiver for the Steelers, but
he was their leading wide receiver. Kelsey's their leading receiver at tight end.
Yeah,
he was their leading wide receiver.
Yeah,
so he'll be missed.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a defensive game. One of the things that I wanted to share with before I kind of close things out. Today's the 1-year anniversary of my father-in-law passing away, and
that long.
Yeah, it was a year ago on February 7th he passed, and tonight the family went out to Portillo's. Now, if you're not familiar with Portillo's, they're Chicago. They call them a Chicago-style restaurant. They have Chicago Italian beef. They have incredible hot dogs there. It's a fast food with a Chicago flair. And my father-in-law loved it because my father-in-law was originally from the Chicago area. Oh. And in fact, Valerie was born out there, and she lived out there until she was about 8 or 9, and then moved down to Florida.
Oh.
I can say this. I never had every time I saw him, he always made me smile, always made me laugh, always was in good humor. But, the thing that I remember the most was he made me feel loved in this family because, I'd gone through a pretty not so nice divorce and had some nasty things said about me and, a lot of bitterness. But, he welcomed me into the family, and he only asked me to do one thing the rest of my life. He told me, he said, Valerie's been hurt before. Make sure you take good care of her. That was the only thing he asked me in the 12 years that I knew him. And I said, Dave was his name. I said, Dave, that's a done deal. You can count on that till the end of time. And I've done that. And I got to say this, I'm so glad to be a part of this family. I'm so glad to be I wasn't able to share because I still tested positive this weekend. So I couldn't go. They had to get together a brunch on Sunday, and then they went out for dinner tonight. I couldn't share in either because I got to test negative before we can do that. But, I'm just real thankful to be a part of this family. Just kind of wanted to close with that. And, my mother-in-law is doing well. I'm so pleased. Valerie checks on her every week on a daily basis. And, she doesn't live too far from us. So, so we're over there. We can be over there in a hop, skip, and a jump. So, but thanks for indulging me for a few minutes about that. He was a very special person to me, as well as the family. I miss his great sense of humor, and he was just a total blast to be around. One real quick story. Okay. While growing up, you never knew what he was going to do. Okay. Mm-hmm. He tied a rowboat onto the bumper of one of his cars. I don't know if it was a Ford Falcon or a Pontiac or whatever.
Ford Falcon, there's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah. And what he did was he tied a rope to the rowboat, tied it on the back of the bumper. All the kids got in the rowboat, and he drove through some orange groves, okay, with the kids on the bottom of the, riding in the boat, Valerie and her sisters and brother. So I could just picture that in my head. It doesn't surprise me. That's the kind of guy he was. He had a lot of fun. They really enjoyed themselves. So, all done. Thank you guys so much for hanging in there and hanging with me.
Thanks, everybody.
And have a great rest of your evening. And it's a great day to fly. Take care, everybody.
Bye, everybody.